The late afternoon sun spilled a golden hue across the bustling downtown avenue where 34-year-old Jake Morrison strolled toward home after another long shift at his small auto repair shop. His gray T-shirt carried faint smudges of engine oil, quiet proof of yet another day spent repairing cars and helping neighbors get safely back on the road. Before we continue, if stories like this touch your heart, don't forget to subscribe to my channel, Kindness Treasury, for more uplifting tales that celebrate humanity and hope. Jake was a man who understood the true worth of kindness because life had once tested him to his limits. 3 years earlier, tragedy had struck. A devastating car accident had claimed the life of his wife, leaving him to raise his 7-year-old daughter, Sophie, entirely on his own. Those months had been the darkest of his life, but the compassion of friends, customers, and even strangers had helped him stand again. Since then, Jake had built his business not just on skill and honesty, but on empathy, never hesitating to help those in need, even if they couldn't afford much. As he walked that evening, lost in thought, a sputtering noise caught his ear, the unmistakable sound of an engine refusing to start. The repeated attempts, followed by silence, told him right away that someone nearby was in real trouble. His instincts as both a mechanic and a caring neighbor kicked in instantly. Across the street, Jake spotted a sleek black sedan with its hood up. Beside it stood a woman in a navy business suit, her blonde hair shimmering in the sunlight as she spoke into her phone, visibly frustrated. Even from a distance, Jake could sense the tension in her shoulders, the helpless gestures of someone on the edge of giving up. But what truly caught his eye was the little girl sitting inside the car, around Sophie's age, wearing a pink dress with her hair tied into neat pigtails. Her wide, anxious eyes followed her mother, silently worried but too young to help. Crossing the street with his calm, confident stride, Jake approached the car. The woman glanced up, her green eyes sharp yet wary. "Excuse me," Jake said kindly. "I couldn't help but notice you're having car trouble. I'm Jake Morrison. I own Morrison Auto Repair just around the corner. Would you mind if I take a look?" She hesitated briefly, then ended her call. "I'm Alina Hartwell," she said, sighing. "I was calling for a tow truck, but they said it'll take 2 hours before anyone can reach me." Jake noticed the little girl in the passenger seat watching them curiously. "Well, Alina," he said with a reassuring smile, "before you spend that money, why don't I take a quick peek? Sometimes the simplest issues cause the biggest headaches." Alina looked from him to her daughter, weighing the situation. Finally, she nodded. "That would be incredibly kind of you, Mr. Morrison. I have an important meeting across town, and I'm already late." Jake rolled up his sleeves and leaned over the engine. In seconds, his trained eyes spotted the culprit. A loose battery terminal. Nothing serious, just a 5-minute fix. "Good news," he announced, straightening up. "It's a loose connection. I can fix this right now. No need to wait for the tow truck." Lena's face lit up with visible relief. "Mr. Morrison, you're a lifesaver. How much do I owe you?" Jake tightened the last bolt, wiped his hands on a rag, and smiled. "Please call me Jake. And you don't owe me anything. It was a 5-minute fix. Happy to help." Alina blinked in surprise. "Jake, I can't let you work for free. You just saved my day." He shook his head lightly. "I've got a daughter around your little girl's age. I know how stressful it gets when you're trying to balance everything. Consider it a favor from one parent to another." Just then, the little girl rolled down her window and called out, "Thank you, Mr. Jake. My name's Lily, and I think you're really nice." Jake chuckled, touched by her sincerity. "It's my pleasure, Lily. And that's a beautiful dress you've got there." The child blushed proudly. "Mr. Jake, do you have a little girl too?" "I do," he replied warmly. "Her name's Sophie, and she's 7. just like you. As Alina started the engine, it purred back to life. She exhaled in relief. Jake, I truly can't thank you enough. Is there anything I can do to repay you? Jake was about to decline when Lily piped up with innocent enthusiasm. Mommy, maybe Mr.
Jake and Sophie can come have dinner with us. That would be a nice thank you.
Elena's cheeks turned pink, but Jake saw the faintest smile play on her lips. That's very sweet of you, Lily, he said gently, but I wouldn't want to impose. To his surprise, Elena said, Actually, that's not a bad idea. I'd love to cook you and Sophie dinner as a proper thank you. How about this Saturday evening? That week passed slower than usual. Jake found himself thinking about the invitation and about the woman whose smile he couldn't quite forget. When Saturday came, Jake and Sophie arrived at Elena's home to find a beautifully set table and a warmth that felt like home. The meal was delicious, but what truly stood out was the laughter. Sophie and Lily became instant friends, filling the room with giggles as they drew pictures together. Jake learned that Elena was a corporate lawyer, hardworking, resilient, and raising Lily alone since her divorce. Like him, she knew the quiet exhaustion of single parenthood. Over dinner, they shared stories, challenges, and small dreams they hadn't spoken of in years. Later that evening, Lily shyly handed Jake a drawing 3 smiling stick figures beside a car.
This is you, Mommy, and me. You made us happy,
she said. Jake smiled warmly. It's beautiful, Lily. Thank you. Then the little girl leaned close and whispered, Mr. Jake, I think you should marry my mommy. She's been sad for a long time, but she smiles when you talk to her. Sophie could be my sister, and we could all be a family. Jake's heart caught at her innocent wisdom. That's a big decision, sweetheart, he said softly. But I think your mommy is wonderful, and I'm very glad we're friends. 6 months later, friendship had turned into something deeper. Jake and Elena had grown closer through shared dinners, family picnics, and quiet talks after the girls went to bed. They found in each other the strength and warmth both had been missing. A year to the day after they met, Jake proposed to Elena at the very spot where he had once fixed her car. With Sophie and Lily by their side, he knelt and said, Elena, a year ago I thought I was just helping a stranger, but that moment led me to you, and to the family I didn't know I was missing. Elena said yes, tears of joy in her eyes. The girls squealed with delight, hugging each other as if their greatest wish had just come true. 6 months later, at their wedding, both little girls walked down the aisle as flower girls, their faces glowing with happiness. During the reception, Lily handed Jake another drawing, this time of 4 stick figures holding hands under a big red heart. Remember when I told you to marry Mommy? She said proudly. Jake laughed, lifting her in his arms. Yes, Lily, I remember perfectly. I told you I'm good at knowing what people need, she said with a grin. Jake hugged her close. You certainly are, sweetheart. You helped us become a family. As he looked around at the joyful faces surrounding him, Jake realized that a simple act of kindness had set everything in motion. He had fixed a car that day, but what he truly repaired was 4 broken hearts that found healing in love, hope, and togetherness. Because sometimes, the repairs that matter most aren't to machines, they're to people. And often, it's the wisdom of a child that reminds us how love can rebuild everything we've lost.